Let's say China.
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 China. China.
China. China.
There are no storm movers, and you can actually see Russia from land here in Alaska.
Go over to China.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Trump statement, tweeting out insults to Angela Merkel. What's he doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host.
Yes. Hello, and welcome. I am James Andrews, and you are listening to So This Happened, the only news you need if you have still not quite recovered from last night's State of the Union address. It is the 31st of January 2018, and as promised, I watched the entire State of the Union and I will report on it. In fact, we will scientifically dissect it. But first, a female passenger on a United Airlines flight today was banned from taking her emotional support peacock on the plane. Now, if you look at the photographs of this, it's a bloody big bird. It's very pretty, but it looks really strange standing there in the check-in line. Now, the lady did offer to buy an extra seat for her peacock, but United Airlines was adamant. They said, no, you cannot bring a bloody great bird on the plane. It's got wings. It can fly itself. Now, the plane was set to take off from Newark in New Jersey, and it was heading to Los Angeles. And the peacock's name is Dexter, which I think is a great name for a peacock. Anyway, the lady that owns it is an artist, and she was traveling across the country to document life on social media. But it looks like she will not be documenting life with her peacock. At least not on United Airlines, maybe Delta, or JetBlue, or American, or any of the other airlines may have a slightly different policy to peacocks on the plane. Emotional support peacocks. And I have to be honest, when I think of emotional support animals, I sort of think of little furry puppies or something that's cute, something you can sort of hold and go, it's okay, James, it's okay, everybody loves you, and if you don't, that's okay, because you've got little Dexter here, the little Pomeranian, and he's my support, but not a peacock. I can't imagine holding a peacock and petting it, well, I think it would probably get pissed off, wouldn't it? It would go, I'm a fucking bird, don't hug me, do not hug me, I'm a bird. Anyway, no peacocks on airplanes. And also today, we have to just mention that secret memo, the one that has everybody buzzing, including today, the FBI, who have urged the White House not to release the memo by House Republicans about the Trump-Russia investigation. They have said it is inaccurate and misleading and will be bad for the country if it comes out. The FBI said, and I quote, "We have grave concerns about material omissions of fact that fundamentally impact the memo's accuracy." Now, I think with the FBI saying this, Donald Trump is going to say, right, I'm definitely putting it out now. Misleading and inaccurate? I'm all for it. Put it out. Release the fucking memo. So we'll see. Donald Trump has said he will release it, and, we look forward to reading it. And it's not just Republicans and Donald Trump that want this memo released. It's actually the Russians too. The FBI have said that Russian social media accounts have been supporting the push to release the memo. I love this. You cannot write this shit, can you? You could not sit down and go, right, I'm going to write a novel about a creepy, rapey, sort of reality TV star who becomes the president. Hear me out. I know it's implausible, but listen to me, right? So this reality TV guy becomes president, yeah? And then this is where it gets really good. The Russians may have been responsible or in part influenced the American people's decision to elect the reality TV star, who's also a really bad businessman, but we'll get into that as well, don't worry. Can you see where I'm going with this? Is it going to be good? Oh, you could just see it, couldn't you? The publisher would look at it and go, James, I don't know, mate. You lost me along the way a little bit. So is the reality guy becomes president? The Russians helped him become president, and we sort of just wanted a Harry Potter prequel. You know, Harry Potter the early years. No, nothing like that. Well, you know, we could try the fake president book. And speaking of prequels, this one's actually a sequel, but Mel Gibson has announced that he is going to be making a sequel to the film The Passion, which that would be sort of like James Cameron saying, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make Titanic Part 2. You know what I mean? It's sort of, isn't it the end of the story, right? I mean, sort of, he died, right? The Titanic sank. A sequel would be a bit, I don't know, what would it be? Well, anyway, that's off track. That just popped up on the news feed right now, and it just struck me as bizarre. And before we go on, a little bit of housekeeping. When that music there, was it all crackly, or was that just was it just in my headphones, or was that? Well, if it was crackly, I apologise, because it sounded crackly to me in my headphones. But maybe something else was going on. Well, no, okay. Maybe it was. Hopefully, it was just me. Hopefully, you didn't hear the pops and the crackles, because we are a professional outfit. All right, on to the big story of the day: the State of the Union. And I had to listen to all of it last night. In fact, I had to listen to it twice. And I'll be very honest with you, I am not a journalist. I'm an opinion guy, right? So the first time I was watching it, my disdain for Donald Trump, and it truly is, I just don't like the way he looks. And I know that's sort of maybe immature and, you know, a bit shallow, but I don't like the way he looks. So for the first time I watched it, I was just going, oh, fucking get off the television. Oh, the smug look. So I had to watch it again so I could sort of take notes and actually listen to it. So I had to watch it all. I am only going to subject you to a little bit of it. So here we go. This is the State of the Union in about 2 minutes. Enjoy.
Tonight, this chamber speaks with one voice to the people we represent. It is you, our citizens, who make
wait, hang on.
Let's make this a year of action.
That's not the right one.
That's what most Americans want.
Turn that off. Turn that. Yeah, that. Another technical glitch. I apologise. That was last year's State of the Union. Good memories. Anyway, here is this year's.
Less than 1 year has passed since I first stood at this podium. Each day since, we have gone forward with a clear vision and a righteous mission to make America great again for all Americans. So let's begin tonight by recognizing that the state of our union is strong because our people are strong. We enacted the biggest tax cuts and reforms in American history. We repealed the core of the disastrous Obamacare. The individual mandate is now gone. Thank heaven. We built the Empire State Building in just 1 year. Isn't it a disgrace that it can now take 10 years just to get a minor permit approved for the building of a simple road? Tonight, I'm calling on Congress to produce a bill that generates at least $1.5 trillion for the new infrastructure investment that our country so desperately needs. My duty, and the sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber, is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too. The first pillar of our framework generously offers a path to citizenship for 1.8 million illegal immigrants who were brought here by their parents at a young age. The second pillar fully secures the border. The third pillar ends the visa lottery, a program that randomly hands out green cards without any regard for skill, merit, or the safety of American people. The fourth and final pillar protects the nuclear family by ending chain migration. For over 30 years, Washington has tried and failed to solve this problem. This Congress can be the one that finally makes it happen. I just signed, prior to walking in, an order directing Secretary Mattis to keep open the detention facilities in Guantanamo Bay. The people dreamed this country. The people built this country. And it's the people who are making America great again.
So there you go. The State of the Union in under 3 minutes, as promised. Now, behind Donald Trump, you have the table, the desk there, and you've got Paul Ryan and Daddy Pence sitting there. And when he's talking, you could literally see the tables just moving up and down. Now, I'm not saying they were getting erections. I wouldn't. That would be immature. But the desk was going up and down. There was definitely something going on there. And now, on to a little game that I like to call Let's Fact Check the President. He said a number of things during his speech there, and we're going to find out whether or not they are in fact true. He said that since the election, we have created 2.4 million new jobs, including 200,000 new jobs in manufacturing alone. Okay, so let's see, is that true? Well, the economy has added about 169,000 jobs a month since the 2016 election. However, that is somewhat less than the 185,000 jobs that were being created per month over the last 7 years. Remind me, who was president then? Well, that's a quiz for another day. Donald Trump there also said that African American unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever recorded, to which he received a massive cheer. All the old white Republicans were there just going, "We're not racist, you see, we're not racist! Oh yes, in your face, Democrats! Ah!" Okay, so let's have a look at that. It is true that black unemployment rate in December was 6.8%, which is the lowest record ever. However, this has been sort of accumulating over a very long period, and every single year for the last decade, African American employment rate has been lowering. So whether or not Donald Trump has anything to do with this is actually fairly doubtful, since in that first year of being a president, nothing that you do really has an effect on the economy. He then went on to say that after years of wage stagnation, we are finally seeing rising wages. Okay, is that true? Yes, wages are on the rise, but unfortunately for Donald Trump, at a much slower rate than they were at the end of President Obama's second term. He then went on to say something, well, he went on to say exactly this. Many car companies are now building and expanding plants in the United States, something we have not seen for decades. So, true or false? Well, it's an exaggeration. There are some car companies that have announced new or expanded plants under the time that Donald Trump has been president. However, that's hardly new or unseen for decades. As Donald Trump said, Toyota, for example, opened a plant in Mississippi in 2011. There hasn't been a surge in automotive employment in the United States under his tenure. And in fact, once again, it's actually down from where it was this time last year. And then, when he was talking about energy, he said this: "We have ended the war on American energy, and we have ended the war on beautiful clean coal. We are now very proudly an exporter of energy to the world." Now, is this true or is this false? Well, this is misleading. It's neither true nor false. The United States has always been a net energy importer. So where it's misleading is here. The United States, it's a net exporter of natural gas and also a net exporter of coal. But it still gets most of its oil from overseas. So the statement, "we've ended the war on American energy," is very misleading. And while it's accurate for Donald Trump to say that he ordered the Environmental Protection Agency to roll back regulations on burning coal, he did do that, but it's done almost nothing to revive the industry. Economists note that the industry has been declining for years and years because of cheaper, more energy efficient and more green alternatives that are out there. So Donald Trump can keep saying beautiful clean coal all he wants, but the fact is there is no such thing as beautiful clean coal, and it is an industry which is dying. He also made that comment about the Empire State Building being built in 1 year. True or false? True-ish, but you have to put it in context as well. It took 1 year and 45 days to build the Empire State Building, but then he went on to say that it can take 10 years just to get a permit to build a little simple road. Well, that bit is just not true. The average time for a permit is about 2 years right now to build a simple road, so not 10 years. And then on to immigration, because this was a big one. He said there that he was going to end the visa lottery, and in his words, a program that randomly hands out green cards without any regard for skill, merit, or the safety of our people. That is patently false. The visa lottery program provides 50,000 immigrant visas to people from countries with low immigration rates to the United States. Now, in the State Department's 18-page guide about the visa lottery, it says that any applicant must have high school education or at least 2 years of work experience in the past 5 years, and that they have no criminal record. Visa winners are then subjected to a very lengthy background check that can last for months and months, and if anything pops up in that, they don't get their visa. So, no, Donald, it doesn't just hand out visas willy-nilly to anybody, just to people who have been selected and then approved. He then went on to say that under the current broken system, a single immigrant can bring in virtually unlimited numbers of distant relatives. True or false? False and misleading. Any immigrant who obtains a green card or citizenship, and by the way, I'm one of those people, so I know what I'm talking about here, they can petition the government to bring in relatives, but these are immediate family members, spouses, children, grandparents, not, your crazy Uncle Dave. He's probably not going to get in. The federal government puts a cap on the number of immigrants that married children and siblings can sponsor on a visa, and the system is also massively backlogged. Apparently right now there are 3.9 million people waiting in line, and some siblings of immigrants who came here in 2004 and petitioned for a visa are still waiting to hear about whether or not they'll be allowed in the country. So the idea that any immigrant can just bring all their families in, they might be terrorists, we don't know, they just bring them in, they're like fucking cockroaches. Just not true, and it's not happening. And we are way over time, so one last fact check. Donald Trump said, "We enacted the biggest tax cuts and reform in American history." That claim is 100% false. Tax cuts signed by Ronald Reagan were much larger, and the recently passed tax bill actually ranks as number 12 in American history for big cuts. So, just not true at all. But does any of this really matter? Because people that love Donald Trump and trust him will believe every single word he said. They're not going to be listening to this program or other shows which are fact-checking what the president said. So, unfortunately, his word is bond. Anyway, listen, we are way over time. It's been a great conversation, as always. Thank you so much for joining me. If you want to continue the conversation, we can do so on Twitter or Facebook. And please comment and like the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, wherever you're listening to my voice. That would be wonderful. And we'll do this all over again on Friday. So everyone have a absolutely spectacular Thursday and good night.